I think the greatest misconception is that abantwana bayakhula. You know, you just think children grow. Children don't grow. Children are raised. Children are raised. Abantwana bayakhuliswa. And that is where the father's presence now plays a role, because there are certain things that you grow without instilwanga ubaba because ubaba ubengeko, and you miss it, and at a later stage you realize that you went throughout your whole life without it, and there's a huge gap. So abantwana bakhuli, abantwana bayakhuliswa, they don't grow, they are raised.
Welcome to the revolution. Decentralized.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 4th episode of Decentralized. Today we have a very special guest with us, and this is our last episode for the year, so it's the perfect way to cap off a great year. Not only for us as Decentralized, but on a personal level. We've achieved a lot, and yeah. Let me start with you, Chief. Unja,
cool. Aye. So in a sense, yeah, welcome back, guys. Welcome to the next episode, episode number 4 of Decentralized, which is the last episode for 2022. So I'm going to be closing this one with a banger, with one exquisite lady in the house, on the round table, with one exquisite lady. So yeah, we're going to be having a very intellectual intercourse.
what a choice of words. Yeah, then let's give our guest the opportunity to introduce herself.
Please.
Singatati any limelight from her. Please introduce yourself, Mama.
Good afternoon, viewers. Kamala Senamile Dhladhla, also known as Mfwetu, also known as I'll tell you where that comes from.
Please.
Also known as Miss D, also known as Mama Skr, and also known as Ukokom Shop.
So many nicknames.
Yeah.
Oh no. Why? What's my nickname? So many by names.
Oh, it's by names. Yes.
Quickly take us through where each one comes from. Let's start with Mfazo Mfwetu.
Start with Mfazo Mfwetu.
I'm more interested in that.
Mfazo Mfwetu actually comes from Facebook. It is a name that I started using, addressing women as Mfazo Mfwetu, until at a later stage they started calling me Mfazo Mfwetu. So
but isn't that how it goes?
It's always how it goes. So it's sort of like a boomerang. So I got that name. And I was basically addressing issues about relationships, social issues, and that's how I gained the name Mfazo Mfwetu.
Well, guess what? Welcome to this show, because you're the perfect candidate. That's what we're talking about. Everything and anything.
Yeah, we do. We not choose. And then Miss D.
Miss D, my surname is Dhladhla.
Please.
And my Dhladhla is spelled Dhladhla, of which my learners struggled over the past.
Not
Dhladhla. They struggled.
Some white accent.
They struggled to spell it, so they decided to give me the name Miss D, taking the first initial of
the surname.
All right. And
I'm glad you clarified that, because I was way ahead of myself.
Whoa.
And then the last one, which is Ukokom
Shop. I think it's because of my complexion, and for the mere fact that I'm also on a path, a spiritual path.
I was about to ask, last week the previous episode we visited. We were visited by a traditional healer.
Yes.
So bengifuna ukandasana kahle lokho ukuthi awona yini emkhakheni ofanayo noma.
Cishe kodwa singasho ukuthi usegraduateile mina.
Oh, so say undergrad.
Yes, orientation.
It's not, you're not still yet into the course.
No, not yet.
All right. No, that's some interesting history. So you're born and bred in Ermelo.
Born and bred in Ermelo.
Lana.
Yeah. Emadamini to be. Zalelwe Phumula, khulele Phumula, hlala emadamini.
And then
Yes.
varsity-wise, where did you go to?
I went to the University of Pretoria, studied education
UP?
there. Yes.
Chuckies.
No, Turkeys.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And
then
Northwest.
what inspired the choice of study? Where did that come from?
I've always wanted to become a teacher, and I think not only was it a calling, but it was also an attempt to heal the inner child, because I struggled a lot, especially in primary school.
Yeah.
I was a misunderstood girl, and I just needed someone to see me, someone to understand that I may not be like the other kids who write quickly and finish work on time. So I was just a bit different, and I needed someone to understand that, and I didn't find that in my primary school teachers. So I made it, and I made the effort to actually study education and make sure that I see other kids who are like me, and I give them what I wish I always had.
Oh, all right. That's an immaculate answer. Yeah, but very immaculate.
So profound and so important, actually.
Yeah, but I'm sure our viewers are dying to hear why we actually called you here. There's a certain segment or a certain area that we wish to discuss. And in that regard, over personal conversations that we've had together in the past, I thought you were the perfect candidate to actually fill this segment, because the issue why we called you here is about the issue of fatherhood, absent fatherhood.
Which is a very sensitive issue.
Oh, so it's the lack thereof.
Yes. It remains a thorn in the society.
It
It remains a thorn, and it's something that affects us very negatively. So I thought that you would be the perfect candidate to actually address it, share your views, share your recommendations, and more especially because of the fact that you teach in a boys' school. So you actually mold.
Why am I finding this out now?
Yeah, she teaches in a boys' school.
At a boys' school.
What, cheapest boys college?
Boys school, boys are.
Well,
How has that journey been? Just teaching boys.
Wow, it's totally different.
Yeah.
It's totally different. And as a matter of fact, teaching boys was also an attempt to heal a certain internal wound.
Yeah. So you related to it to a certain extent.
Not necessarily. I had to.
because I wanted to ask, okay, what exactly were you trying to heal
I actually had to.
internally?
I was trying to heal what we're addressing today.
Fatherhood, or the lack thereof. Also, I'm assuming you have a fatherless past, in a sense, or a not very active father.
It's actually, yes, let's call it that. Not
Okay.
entirely fatherless, but
He
Yes.
was less interactive as you
Yes.
would wish as a kid growing up.
yes.
As she would have liked.
And another reason why I wanted to teach boys in particular is because Umfazi Mfowethu created a lot of damage on social media.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I definitely share in those sentiments because I was there. I used to see everything.
Yeah, and I know that I tarnished a lot of reputations and I might have bruised a lot of egos.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where I realized that the enemy is not men. The enemy is what society has made out of men.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
if
Thank you for that
I see a
distinction.
problem in society, then I should stop being problem-based and rather be more solution-based.
yeah.
So I have a problem with the way in which men interact in society. Why don't I go to their territory and try and make sure that when they get out of that school, they
They're
become
equipped.
the perfect gentlemen, and
Yeah,
it's
equipped.
much easier for us to be sociable with them, to be in relationships with them because they have now healed.
Oh, snap.
Okay. No,
Ah,
that's excellent.
So
No,
I'm actually grooming future husbands here, and
Yeah,
there are
yeah.
women who will be grateful for the fact that I
For
had
the work
an
that Miss D
interaction
has
with
done.
their husbands, as Miss D.
Yes, most definitely. So take us through, Miss D. What does fatherhood mean to you as a whole? What does it mean?
Actually,
Fatherhood.
yeah. What is
Fatherhood?
According to you.
It is broad. Not only is it based on genetics,
Yes.
I think it is deeper than that.
So it's not just
People
a
think that
biological,
it's not just a
spectrum.
biological aspect. People think that fatherhood is just a matter of birthing someone and bringing them to earth, and that is it. but it actually goes deeper, and that is why we end up having father figures, because it is not just limited to DNA, it is not just limited to genetics and paternity. It also has to do with involvement, your presence. It has to do with provision, your spiritual provision, your financial provision, your emotional provision, intellectual provision.
You touch on a very touchy subject,
deeper than just genetics.
Damn.
And that's where we normally don't get the point, because most of us have attached it to just genetics.
Not to talk as a father. Fine, I'm not one, not yet.
And you will be one soon.
Guys. Not to speak as a father, but speaking as a fatherless child. You understand? A fatherless boy specifically. Now a fatherless man. Certain things about life, about being a man, about being a gentleman, about being a douche basically. Because there are some dads out there who teaches their kids how to be irresponsible, responsible,
True.
and balance between the two. So I'm speaking for myself. No. Kunzima khuluma naye baba. Not because presence makes that amount of significance in your life, but his presence being there, it makes it so much better. Because ngabekisa nje in day one, bengihlala nosisi wami last year, nomntanakhe. Ne? So isister really ngakhuluma kayi2 or kayi3 uthi ayibo zibani gezizitsha ngivele mina ngibuyele emsebenzini ngisikhathalele izitsha done. The fact that there's a male authority now in the house that cannot be questioned according to yena ngendlela abona ngayo umntwana at that point. Yabona ukuthi okay yazini malume ngikhulumile ngizigeza izitsha uyasukuma right then and there ugeza izitsha bese siyafika ke thina as grown men now sizo challenge authority yabazali.
True.
Wes ukhuliswa old lady lohlele kwi lady mawungumfana uzoba ile qanda lakhe lelo mawuyintombazana uzoba ile qanda lakhe lelo, but with extra precaution. Understand? Maragithi uzokuyeka ukhuzuke here and there ubiswe ibhayisikiri there and there, but uyazi ukuthi egcineni uqanda lakhe. And then you grow up and then uyaqala uchallenge ioledi ke manje. Angithandi into yakho kuhambe ebusuku mosangeke ngilimali. Yeah, in my head ngiyazi ngilimali fail, but what if I do?
What if you do?
You understand?
And I mean,
in the
that's what parents do. They just, they protect us all the time, and they feel like they can protect us.
But ubaba nangathi awuhambe ebusuku.
It is done.
There's no way.
There's no negotiation.
There's no way I'm going to negotiate that. None.
Yeah.
Baba afuna ngihambe ebusuku bafethu ngizonibona manginibona. Done. So how that the impact le ukuthi a man has that una lesithunzi.
True. And not to say abantu besifazana
abanaso, yes.
Not to say omama bethu abanaso, but
asifani.
Yeah, presence kababa makes a huge difference.
So ubaba makazothi mahot ukuthi nokuthi asikwenzi. Fine. Kodwa umama nakathi mina ngithanda ukwenza ukuthi nokuthi. Yeah, you're going to question that so hard.
Yeah.
True.
So Miss D, just to brush up on the first point, ukuthi fatherhood iqhaza ukuthini kuwena. Just to get to what you said, it's a very broad aspect. We shouldn't just define it towards certain things. You just birth the child. We need to take care of different segments of the child's life, the spiritual part, and all those things. No?
I think the greatest misconception is that abantwana bayakhula. You think children grow. Children don't grow. Children are raised. Children are raised. Abantwana bayakhuliswa. And that is where the father's presence now plays a role, because there are certain things that you grow without ezinga-instilwanga ubaba because ubaba ubengekho. And you miss it, and at a later stage you realize that you went throughout your whole life without it, and there's a huge gap. So abantwana bakhuli. Abantwana bayakhuliswa. They don't grow, they are raised.
I have no idea how to how to interpret this, but what?
Or to actually comprehend it. No, we are learning a lot. This episode is going to be explosive.
That is why you find 21-year-old men and you find 40-year-old boys. That is why you find 25-year-old women and you find 40-year-old girls.
The difference. That's why the
because
difference.
kube ne gap like khulisweni.
So there was a certain gap that wasn't bridged
Exactly.
through ukhuliswa, but forced ukuthi ukhule.
And that is why a father's presence or a parent's presence is very important.
No, I see as
Okay, and not just the
What?
presence, but also active involvement in the child's upbringing.
Thank
It is
you.
very important. I think the biggest mistake that our parents did was only seeing us and not hearing us. You know,
Yes, true.
Obaba bethu babe yizidlamlilo. So the minute Ubaba walks into the house, then abantwana bonke bayahamba bayiruming one.
Kunale fear.
Yes, the fear that is instilled, and Ubaba is there. Ubaba is present, and that's what you were saying about the authority and the dominance.
Yes.
Ubaba makathe yey guy one. But I think exactly. So I think it's very important for us to discern between presence and active involvement.
Okay.
Active involvement also means that the father gets to interact with the child. The mother gets to interact
Act
with
with
the
the kid,
father
yes.
and the child as the child is being raised.
But I think there's also an important factor, Lana. It shouldn't be according to the dad's terms, in a sense. I mean, mangabe mina ngimuntu osithulele as a child. Ngithola ubaba othanda ukubanga umsini. We're not gonna interact. a
That's
lot.
why I'm saying active involvement.
Exactly. So,
So
meaning
that you can
ubaba
interact.
kufuna azame ukuthola indlela yokuthi understand mina indlela yokuinteract nami ezokhona ukuthi understandane mina
No,
naye.
So here's just another point that I want to get, guys. So there's a difference between being present and actively involved.
A
You
huge
can be
difference.
present but not actively
but not
involved.
be actively involved.
And
Let me not get personal.
it's rare to find a parent that's actively involved but not present, right? If I can put it that way.
You can say so, because in as much as we believe that we are better parents because we are here,
Because
are
of
creating
emotional
we are creating nuclear families. We are
blended
not. You are
families.
not like our fathers that walked out. You are here.
Yeah.
But what saddens me is seeing you here, but umntwana's on their tablet and you're not interacting with umntwana.
Eish.
Ouch.
And there's no relationship that's being built.
Or
So
you,
now, not so
you
Little-
throw money and you let the money parent the child.
And
And
not
yet you
you
say you're
as the
present.
actual parent.
And yet you say you are present.
Meaning ekugcineni the kid can have some form of they can dispute ama-rules akho only because they don't know your rules.
Yes,
They don't
yes.
know the rules about your money.
I mean, currently in the classroom, that's the problem that we're facing. The children are seen, they are parented, the parents are present, the parents are still together. Okay, some of them are undergoing divorce,
Yeah.
but they do not have time. They come back, they watch TV, the child is always on their phone, they throw money at them. Mommy, I need this. Mommy, I need attention. Oh, here's $1,000. Go to the mall with your friends. And all that the child needed is actually
what?
attention.
$1,000 just to go to the mall because I need some attention.
Oh, they do.
That would be life right there.
No, we are really learning. Yeah, we are really learning. Imagine that's just the first point of this conversation. I'm still
Come
gonna
on.
go to 6 more points, so you can imagine how much more we're going to learn. But let me go to the second point, Makoti. I always like to call you Makoti, and I'll explain towards the end of the show. Until we have the Kabbalah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
It's totally ngimbizwa umakoti by default because I couldn't understand
Who's
where
Makoti?
it
Yeah.
originated from.
Yeah, but Makoti, as I was saying, how has not having an actively present father affected you, more especially in your upbringing? How has that shaped you as a person?
Oh, so you're taking it a bit personal now.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
fine.
How has that really affected you, and how have you been able to grapple or deal with any ordeal that you might have went through as a result?
All right. Let me start by not disregarding the fact that I had great men surrounding me during my upbringing. I've had umkhulu, I've had omalume, I've had members of the church, members of the community, I've had colleagues who play father figures, I've had obaba umkhulu, even cousins who play. So I'm not going to disregard that, and I'm not going to take that away from them. They played a very huge role in my life, and I'm also not going to disrespect the role that my mother and my grandmother played in Kulsen during my father's absence. Okay. So there are a lot of people that groomed me. It is said that it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes, I was about to ask if you agree with that.
I am that child that was raised by a village. So there are a lot of people who tried to fill that void of my father's absence. But
there's always that part.
Exactly. And you cannot divorce them from the entire predicament
you cannot.
of a parent and child.
And honestly speaking, it took so much for me to understand that my father not being a part of my life was not because of me. You know, growing up I used to beat myself up because I wondered, why am I not like my peers?
Yeah, I understand.
When we go to a prize giving or a concert, why can't my father come with my mother like it happens with Zinga? You know, why does it always have to be Ugogo, mom and stepdad, or Malume? Why do other people have to step in? Where is he? So I was left with a lot of unanswered questions because of his absence in my life. And the relationship, we sort of established it. It was close to non-existent, but it was it was especially towards his days of departure that we actually established a relationship. It is actually when he was
So he's late.
He is late. Bless him. He is late. And it's also it's almost towards the end of his life that we established a relationship, and I got to see a different side to him, and I got to learn so much about him. I saw myself a lot in him.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially in terms of personality. I got to prove some of the things that were said to me during my upbringing. You know, I got to prove them.
Guess
what? Yes, and
you are daddy's daughter.
You know, and I wondered, but why did you deprive me of the opportunity to get to know you? You know, and gunezinto that our parents obviously don't discuss with us because they're trying to protect us from them.
Or shield us.
Yes, they try to shield us a lot.
BS perspective, but okay.
You know, and fair enough, it's understandable that sometimes they try to protect you, but I think the biggest mistake that especially the biggest mistake that we make is failing to understand or failing to discern between love, which is a decision between two people, and paternity, which is fate. Okay?
What?
So we fall in love, we have this child. Right? We fall in love, we have this child. We decided, right? It was a decision between two people.
That was that.
Yeah.
Now we have a child, and the child did not choose to be here.
Did we choose? Or
To be here.
No. Did we choose to have the kid?
It depends.
Or in that matter, or in this specific, what you call it, in this specific aspect, I found out you're pregnant. Yeah, we weren't planning, we weren't talking about it.
But for the mere fact that you copulated, that was the decision.
Are we?
That was the decision.
One of two things are gonna happen. And number two happens.
Yes. So we fail to understand ukuthi love is a decision, and uthando sometimes we are paid. Right? We fall in love and we fall out of love.
Just as
right?
much as.
So I think the biggest mistake we do as women is using children as a weapon to fight lolu thando luphelile.
I hope they're hearing you. I hope.
Yeah, better hear this. Because what's
And ingane ayikhethelanga ukuthi lo akube ubaba wami.
true?
So we need to get to a stage where we stop depriving the children of the opportunity to get to know their fathers. We must learn to discern. We say, okay, this relationship has failed. However, let me give him a chance to father.
Fine, not to love, but to father.
To father. To
I
love
think-
and guide and provide.
In
and
my
protect.
personal opinion, I think that's a very direct, distinctive, and very important distinction. We would say, no, there's a difference between sisathandana
Yes.
or no. Thanda umntana wakho.
Yeah, so we need to get to a stage where we stop vilifying fathers. Luphelile uthando lwethu, it's
Necessarily
okay,
so.
but we need to understand that we experience people differently. You might have been a horrible lover to me, but for all you know, you're going to be a great dad to the child, and I need to give you that opportunity.
Logically so, without
Yeah.
attaching any emotions to it. Yeah, no.
100%.
She's really. These
I-
answers are very broad.
Online.
These answers are very
Online.
broad. They're very broad. Good. Let's go on to the third point now. And I also want to hear your perspective on something. Vele sikubizele your perspective and expertise, since you have a very well-trained mind. And no, the answers are blowing us away.
Like what's
They're really blowing us away.
no. This is some informed.
Yeah. It's an informed
It's a discussion. Yeah. But I did say,
Yeah.
we're having an intellectual intercourse.
Yeah, most definitely. We did say at the beginning of the show. But I just wanted to hear from Mwakote. According to her, how have the increased levels of absent fathers affected the society? Because I think as we grow,
personally,
no, it's informative. People need to learn. And we went through the questions prior. So I think they offer a decent standard.
I am going to hurt a lot of people right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can come and crucify me on Facebook. Those who have my number, WhatsApp, I'll be waiting.
Yeah.
brace yourself.
No, I'm gonna take all the heat.
Also, with a very sensitive one.
Yeah.
Ndoda must.
You
know Ndoda must?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's-
Of course we know what.
You do. Okay. There is a huge difference between undoda must wentombazane ekhuliswa ubaba wayo nondoda must wentombazane ongakhuliswa ngabo. Lo okhuliswa ubaba, when she says indoda must, she also musts.
Yeah.
Right? She believes
She comes to the party.
yeah, she doesn't believe
Wait,
it's
you know what?
she's the only one who needs to be spoiled in the relationship. She's considerate.
Yeah.
And then law is trying to fill that gap, Kababa. So you must provide. You must do all the things that my father did not do. Minfunugulwa on location. And it's not all of us, but it's clear that distinction.
But it's always yin and yang. Not all men
Yeah.
are the same as much as not all women are the same.
Yeah.
In general.
And the way in which we interact, especially in relationships, yabona lento ye absent fatherhood, ifike reflected kakhulu in relationships. We struggle a lot to interact with each other. You struggle to love a woman right because you have not seen a man modeling that in your household.
True.
Right? Me as a woman, I struggle to give you your place as a man because I have not seen a man being given his place in the household.
You haven't seen it being practiced.
And nami ngiyazikhulumela. There was a certain point in my life when I felt that, you know what, I'm independent, I don't need a man, I can do this on my own, and I had no regard for men. Okay, hence the name Mfazumfwethu.
Yeah,
man.
No, I've been following.
Follow-up question: how did that work out for you?
To be honest with you, I found myself with a lot of self-inflicted wounds. I
snap.
found myself destroying my own relationships because I did not understand being loved right, being loved gently. I was always on defense mode because I always worked towards trying to prove a point to men who I come from a household where women do everything Amandla, where to, and I felt like I don't need a man. But there's one thing that I failed to see, that there's always been a man in the background. I've always had a little brother changing the light bulb.
I hope y'all heard that.
Right?
There's always been what?
A little brother changing the light bulb. There's always been a big brother changing my car tire. There's always been a man in the background. I used to be the type of woman to say I'm a dodashiswe. But
Dance
when we go on social media and we say you are trash because we are hurt.
Not because necessarily you're bitter. No.
Because we are hurt and we need to heal and we need to understand in our lives and in society. And that is why we need to restore the essence of fatherhood. We need to give obaba indawo yabo to raise their children and mold their children into being proper sociable beings.
Yeah.
Kona manje we have inkinga yenyawupe. We have inkinga ye-crime. We have
it's a lifestyle.
You thought it was a lifestyle?
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere,
No, it's a social conundrum.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It is, and it's
We are in
because
the
of the
state
gaps
of
that
It's
because of the gaps that are created.
Now,
so
true.
basically, you believe? Okay, can I ask? Do you believe in the butterfly effect?
I do.
And one small thing ends like can affect. It can have a rippling effect.
It's a rippling effect. Yeah.
So being an absent father, let's say I'm a father and I'm absent in my kid's life. That can have a rippling effect to the point where speak no. Because I wasn't there.
There are very few people who actually break away from that cycle. And there are actually people who decide that this is how it's been ekaya and I am going to break this generational curse.
Yes.
And not all of us are capable of doing that.
True.
Okay? So laba bakhonayo, yes, siyababongela.
Big ups to them.
But this ripple effect, it goes down from one generation to the other. Uthola ukuthi
akusiyena yamkhulu yakho wayidlulisela komkhulu mkhulu wayidlulisela kubaba and manje iphethe mina
awuzokhula lo mntwana vele baba bazama mkhulisa uzokhula.
Yeah, no, nami ngikhuliswe umkhulu.
Yo.
But in your opinion, Makoti, how has fatherhood evolved over the years? I mean, from our time, thina abanye sikhuliswe ngumkhulu, and those that were fortunate enough ukuthi bakhuliswe
fathers actually present.
My biological fathers abo. In your observation, how has it evolved over the years from the stage you were strict to the stage you a father can be able to have a proper conversation with his daughter? Let's say about boyfriends. How has that evolved over the years, according to your observation? Yeah,
I think it differs. It differs a lot, especially based on the father's personality. I am seeing a lot of young men, which is quite impressive. I'm seeing a lot of young men who are saying, my father was never there, but I want to be present.
Yes,
so not only are they problem-based to say, but they're also solution-based to say,
yes.
I am going to be there, I am going to be present. And we see that and we appreciate that and we need more of that. And then we also have those who say, I don't want to have kids because I was hurt by my father's absence. Okay? And we've got people who say, so I'm not going to let ubaba in.
Yeah.
I am going to shut it out.
completely.
Completely. And then we've got those who say, men are a disappointment. I'm one of them. I believe.
Who used to say?
I used to say men are disappointing. And not because I'm disappointed a boyfriend. The first man to ever disappoint me was my father with his absence.
That's one man we looked up to.
And the father is a daughter's first love.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
the first superhero, dog.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's the daughter's first love. It's a boy's first superhero.
Yeah.
Tama can do anything and everything. What, you want to jump off a bloody roof? Tama can do that. What? That can fly,
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah. So we still have those improvident fathers. We still have those uninvolved fathers. We still have those who are just donors who donate and then they're gone. We're still facing that problem.
Are you talking about sperm donors?
Oh, of course. And then we also have those who are saying, look here, we are trying to do good. But unfortunately, those who are doing good, they are overshadowed by those absent fathers, those...
Unfortunately.
Exactly. But I'm a firm believer in the fact that if you are doing something bad, you see people who do bad things, those who are absent, those who are improvident, they don't get tired of being improvident.
Yes.
So those who are
Consistency
doing
is key, I guess.
it is key. Those who are doing something right, those who are showing up, those who are present, those who are involved, those who are providing should continue doing it. Okay? I'm not saying they're going to get an Oscar for it, 40, but by doing it, they are modeling for other people. People are always watching.
True.
People are always observing. They learn from what we do and from what we say. So these fathers who are showing up and showing off by doing good, we actually do appreciate that. We see you. We see. We might not say it every day.
Doesn't
We're not
go
going to give you an
Of
award
course
for it,
not. You're
but we see
you're
you.
not gonna say it every day. As
Yeah.
much as you say men are trash, man are fed, they're sickle up.
So yes, there's still a huge gap in society. We still have a lot of problems that are caused by the absence of fathers. But I think, I'm a teacher and I believe in teaching in any platform to any audience. So I feel like we need to create more platforms where we teach fathers to father.
Too far.
Just like we have these youth empowerment and women empowerment programs, how about we have father empowerment
Actually,
programs?
on that note, it's always about kids and women.
And in the
It's
effort,
very few fatherhood empowerment.
and honestly speaking, there's absolutely nothing wrong with women empowerment and youth empowerment.
No, there's nothing.
But I feel that we also
also
created a
important for
gap,
men,
Nancy,
yes.
because in the effort to try and empower the woman and the children,
Empower
we
the men
forgot
as well.
about the men.
Empower the men. Because if you're empowered and I'm not, how am I supposed to know what you expect me to know?
Exactly, we're perpetuating the broken cycle.
You know, just on that point, just to add on that point, last year I was in primary school in Bethel and I was giving a talk there, and I said that women empowerment should not mean men disempowerment.
Yeah,
you see,
true.
society needs both genders in order to be
function, actually, to be coherent.
100%.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is that we are leaning more towards one gender and neglecting the other. That's the truth of the matter. But I do hear your point in saying that we actually need more seminars, more programs, and like more initiatives to try and teach fathers, because there's nothing of that sort that I know. I'm not disregarding it completely and saying it doesn't happen, but it's very, very scarce. I haven't heard of something of that sort, and I'm very happy that you're actually giving out credit to the ones that are actually doing a great job. You see, because I once heard a girl saying to me, "You can't applaud a fish for swimming. This is your child. You need to take care of it." You see?
Oh, snap. What?
In actual fact.
Whoa, back up. What?
Yeah, but you cannot applaud a fish for swimming because it's your child, and that's a negative view to it. I mean, even if you're required to do something, but Mabakeng is appreciation towards it. I know they're doing a great job. Now we're motivated. Let me continue doing it.
No, no.
Ima, so if I get this straight, according to Wenamahod, people are saying, "Mawenza lente rights." As a parent, they don't recognize you enough.
Yeah.
They don't acknowledge you enough.
Some people,
But just miss a birthday.
it's well daughter.
I mean, even with father, I think I've stopped going on social media, especially on Father's Day, because it is
the
most-
Father's Day to my mom. Yeah.
you know, I to myself and you know what, we are not saying that we are disregarding the efforts of women. Our mothers play
mothers are superheroes.
Listen,
Life.
they are superheroes.
Life.
However,
Actually, super women.
exactly.
Yes.
However, let us not take this away from Oba.
You know, guys.
Let us not, this thing of Happy Father's Day to myself because I'm a strong woman, I'm doing this it needs to stop. Allow Obaba to be Obaba on Father's Day.
I so wish abantu abaningi bangakhona ukuyibuka this thing and understand your point of view and understand from a women perspective. Ukuthi guys, as men, some of us do try, you know.
You do.
Khona umalume, like you said, khona ubhuti, khona my cousins, khona ubaba omncane, ubaba omkhulu. They do their utmost best to cover up the space of that very specific person. Ofunwa nguwe, ongekho.
Yeah, no, let's not take anything away from fathers. In all honesty, where they're doing a great job.
Mina, the only thing I'm mad about is parents, actually fathers that are present, they're not given enough recognition. They're not acknowledged enough.
Unfortunately.
You
But
know,
it goes back to what
umfazi mangabe uyi strong independent women, no offense, she will get all the props.
And you know,
but if you have a strong independent, but if you're gonna get a strong independent father, guess what? Oh, it's your job.
Yeah, it's finally good.
How?
No, but it goes back to what Miss D said, that the effect is that the ones that are not doing their best in fatherhood overshadow the ones that are actually doing something.
the most.
That's how we find ourselves in this situation.
So that's the gap we need to bridge. Actually,
and what's very important is that you don't get tired of doing good, because the ones who are improvident don't get tired of not providing.
Exactly. Did you hear that statement? The ones that don't provide don't get tired of not providing.
you know, there's a quote I once
And
read
that's
from this book. Please forgive me for this, but it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
Yeah.
And there's a quote lab. It's if you're gonna do something brilliantly, mess up. Nobody messes up badly. What? Ageke umuntu oke wa mess up agabi. No.
Yeah.
It's always brilliant.
Yeah.
It's always perfectionally executed.
Yeah.
So the same thing as doing good. Do that ngale ndlela leyo, with the same energy. With the same energy. If you're gonna be a father.
Show up and don't expect recognition for it. Show up.
No. Show up. Be there. Be present. Be a father.
Your child needs you.
And if we don't clap for you, clap for your damn self. What?
Yes. Even with your child.
Yeah.
Do a high five
Especially.
and a fist bump with your child.
Especially.
That's your biggest fan right there. You don't
Yeah.
need to get applauded by other people who when you are being a good dad.
Yeah.
If your son gives you a fist bump or a high five, just know you're doing a good job, baba.
Because all I know is isikhathini esiningi into esiyibuka yiyi-one. Yeah, you're a good father, but until when? Until when?
He will eventually get
You know,
tired.
until you cheat, until you have another child elsewhere, you know, until you miss a birthday, you miss a concert, until you not pick up umntwana esikoleni on time. Yeah, you're a good dad until when?
And you know what the sad thing is? One bad action or one mistake can actually erase
All the good
everything
ones. Yeah.
that is good that you've ever done for your child.
Unfortunately. For men,
And I think we need to get to a stage where both men and women understand that it is human nature to fault. Okay? We are not going to be perfect in this parenting thing. It doesn't come with a manual, right? We are going to make mistakes. Ekhuliseni abantwana,
Yes.
right? And I think it's very important for us to actually handle parenting with grace. Yeah, Zuzi,
And with care.
there
What?
is with grace and with care.
Danko.
Okay? Yeah, Zuzi, it's not every day that Ubaba will be able to pay 7,000 rand in maintenance. And it's okay. You know? Kwesinye isikhathi, the only thing that makes a child happy is seeing nanoma kuthiwa mommy and daddy are no longer together. But if Ubaba afika with a loaf of bread and he parks his car outside, to the child it
take me
means
out for
a
ice
lot.
cream.
Take the child out for ice cream.
Yeah. Most
Be
definitely.
there.
It's the thought and the effort that counts. Not the monetary value or anything.
I so wish ukuthi ngabe sonke sigcina le inhliziyo siba nazo as kids, because we are very quick to forgive, we're very quick to forget.
Yeah.
We take a long time to get mad and angry ukuthi ayabona mama umcasulile anisakufuni lokho. And we love genuinely as kids. We love genuinely. Yabona, if you can angazi njani, but if we can reinforce that into our adult self right now, I'm telling you, the world will change overnight.
It would be a much better place.
It will change overnight.
That is why we need to ensure that we do not get tired of being good.
Yeah, most definitely. Moving on to the next point. I just want to hear, I have a lot of questions here, but slowly but surely you are addressing each and every one of them. And sufficiently and adequately.
Coherently to be specific.
Yeah. The next point on the agenda is this one. So according to you as a teacher and as a teacher more especially of boys, do you think the effects of absent fatherhood rather are more evident on males or females, or is it both genders?
I think it's both genders. I think it's both
Equally
genders.
so.
Yes, especially let me rather start with the women.
Yeah.
In the women, it reflects as a sense of codependency.
Okay.
Right?
Explain.
You either look for your father in
other
other
men.
people.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
in other men, if I can put it that way. Or you cancel men. Completely. Like the part that I have been down on. I'm healing though. I'm healing. I'm getting better. I'm learning to forgive.
Props to that.
I've forgiven Baba. I'm learning to forgive
Props to
myself.
you specifically.
Thank you.
No, it's not an easy
Yeah.
thing to. It's not something one of will say, it's okay, I'm over this.
Yeah.
No, okay, so what? What? You're not gonna wake up one day and say, and it's okay. What? No. I'm not gonna allow anyone to convince me otherwise.
Yeah. And then in boys, you see it as a defense mechanism, right? They work so hard to try to defend themselves and try to prove their masculinity in order to try and mask this absence of a man. So they need to ensure that they man up in order to show that the man, to sort of shadow the fact that the man is not there.
So let me get this straight. Basically what you're saying is ngendlela esikhulisa ngayo abantwana. I'm to say kids don't grow up,
they are raised.
So ngendlela esikhulisa ngayo abantwana, we are actually telling kids ukuthi, you know what, especially I'm speaking about girls now, specifically girls. We are teaching them to be in their masculine instead of in their feminine, simply because they're trying to cover up the void. You would see there wasn't a masculine figure in their life.
Yes.
Oh snap!
Yeah, no, she's right. I wanna let Namakoti. This one hits home because I relate so much to what you've said. I'm just gonna quickly make a few examples of myself. My father is still alive. I was born in 1997. He decided to just vanish in 1999. And then I met him a decade later in 2009. And now here's the point. He has never been remorseful. He has never been remorseful to the extent of I was not there in your upbringing, and I'm sorry for the damage that might have caused. But I told myself that I'm going to take an executive decision to forgive this man for what he did to me. But the journey has not been easy. I'm still struggling.
It never is.
To this day, I'm still struggling with it. But just to go back to the point of masculinity, to me it's been very evident. I remember there was a time whereby one ended up becoming ridiculous. To the extent, no, in all honesty, it's ridiculous. About December, siyahlangana ngithi kagogo, his cousins and all those things. So uma ufika ubona laba bagqoka amapijama namagawn, and you think to yourself, indoda ayigqoki. And you end up taking away things that bring comfort to you because of the masculinity. And you're used to the suffering.
Yes, true.
a man is supposed to go through hardships, and unnecessarily so. So your nears damage, and more especially now because now you need to unlearn certain things and you need to relearn other things so that you can take your son or your child through the proper path. So it's very good that we're touching on it, because now I'm a work in progress in that regard.
And we all are. We all are.
No one is perfect in that regard.
I think if we stop trying to be a work in progress.
Yeah, it's going to.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
I think what we also need to understand is that what we need to take from our parents is the good that they did, right?
True.
Whatever it is that is good, that is beautiful, that contributed positively towards your upbringing, you take that and you apply it as well if it worked for you. And whatever bad that occurred during your upbringing, learn to forgive them. They're also human.
Forgive and do better.
Forgive and do better.
Because I mean, mangabe old lady mnyabekisa, ne? Old lady is a career woman. Ilo muntu o focus ekutheni, she wants to make sure ukuthi your education, your health, and your basic needs are taken care of. If I want, specifically if she's single-handedly doing that, she's not gonna have time to attend to your emotional needs. Usithatha leso sikhathi.
Yeah.
7 uyemsebenzini uyabuya ngo5, you understand? Makabuya ngo5, there's so much things ezenzeka emsebenzini ezizomkhathaza. Ila I think co-independence between parents to the child comes in.
Yeah.
Because mangabe lo msebenzi lo wonke uzokwenza umuntu ewana. I-career woman they won't have time for you. As much as a career father, they won't have time for you.
True.
And a family father won't have enough money for you.
True.
So
You know, as much as a career, as much as a family-oriented woman won't have enough money for you. So muzokhula ngiyabekisa njengalesi manje ukudume ama-Air Force, ukudume ama-Adidas and not all these brands. Mangabe i-old lady lapho is a family-oriented person. You cannot expect her. Mawusoqala understand, you cannot expect her ukuthi akuthengele bo Nike, akuthengele bo Fubo, akuthengele bo Fila, akuthengele ma Nike. She doesn't have isikhathi sokwenza leyo mali. Unesikhathi sokunakekela imizwa yakho.
She takes part
understand
of the family side of things.
But if she's more focused on her career, making money to make sure that everything that needs money according to your needs is met, she will not gonna have time to ask about your day. What?
She's too tired.
No, she's exactly. But I feel like if listen to this is in a share between parents.
And
Baba plays this role and the show this doesn't get missed. Mama play this role and the show this doesn't get missed. I feel like the child can have a holistic upbringing.
And let's not disregard our society.
True.
We are living in a society where sometimes you find that Mama and Baba, they are not in the same household.
True.
Right? But I think even so, it is very important to try and balance the roles. Right? Okay, I know people are going to say I'm speaking from a misinformed point of view because I don't have a child yet and I don't know what they go through. No, not yet. No, I think that my child actually deserves the healed version of me. So,
Power to that.
Danko!
Power to that.
Okay, so I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, you don't know how difficult it is to take someone to court because he doesn't want to show up. Yeah, because you haven't experienced this. You don't know what I'm going through. Trying to
those.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah,
it's always funny. It's always the funny part. Angikholelwa ukuthi khona i-misunderstanding noma inkinga engavela ngomlomo engeke isolve ngomlomo.
Thank you.
Angikholelwa lokho.
Yeah, most definitely.
There's no need to raise face and face. Why?
Yeah.
Most definitely. Here's a personal question. Do you see yourself married? Do you believe in marriage? Do you believe in a full family setting whereby you have a husband and kids?
Rephrase. Do you see yourself committed and submissive to a man?
If you asked me that question 5 years ago,
You'd say no.
I would say no. Why would I? Why should I submit?
Yeah.
Why would I? I mean, no.
Most definitely.
But like I said, because we're healing and we're growing, it's ideal. It's beautiful. It creates balance. It creates
some
harmony
form of
to
stability.
have both. Yes. That would be ideal. It would be beautiful. But then,
You look at then.
but let's use it though. They are beyond our control.
We are technical now.
Yeah. Let's use it though. They are beyond our control. But in a perfect world, oh yes, absolutely, I'd have a family.
Yeah, no, that's heartwarming.
How's it heartwarming?
No, it's heartwarming because I'm also a believer in a family setting, having a wife, having kids, like all my kids under one roof. Because I never had that.
Yeah,
so,
speaking from a male's perspective right now.
yeah, no, but she's speaking from a female perspective.
Yes,
right.
She said in the perfect world. Meaning, inkinga kahle kahle. It's not in a aksi ukuthi inkinga inathi or igibo, but kunenkinga.
Yeah, most definitely. Because we're still working towards rectifying those problems. But she's not completely...
Yeah, she's not
Dismissing
dismissing the idea.
Yeah.
Hence, it's heartwarming because you tend to conversate with some women and bala vehemently, like with a massive no.
No, 5 years ago I would have said no. Like
No ways.
No ways.
Yeah.
One ways.
But you've grown tremendously. No, that's a good thing. Growth is a good thing.
Perfect. I'm happy because we are gonna go to okay, fine. This codependency. Angeke ziyenzeke without the core parties going together.
True.
If I'm codependent on you, you gotta be codependent on me.
100%.
And if you're not codependent on me, I'm gonna have problems. Or if the roles were switched, I'm not codependent on you, you're gonna have problems. Because ngizovele ngikufonele nje on a Saturday morning. Oh yeah babe, mamela lana sisela eCape Town, ne? Ngihamba izolo ebusuku ngikhohle ukukutshela. How are you gonna feel about that? As much as uzotshela mina. Oh no baby. Baby, we're having a ghost trip. I forgot to tell you. I'm too independent woman, man.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you, Uguti, we have a ghost trip. Nkuluma nawe nje, sindlula 3 sisters, we're going to Cape Town. What the actual F? How am I supposed to comprehend logo?
That is why I said the problem.
That's
why I said the problem with the absence is the modeling. We didn't see that happening. We didn't see that interaction.
Actually, ngicela nje ukungena kancanyana nje ngicobhoze kule conversation ukuthi we didn't see that being modeled. Omkhulu bebafika endlini i-authority yabo was the final word. Ogogo, they had very little say. You understand? Bomkhulu bebazo realize after sebanqondize sebashayise kahle nje emthangaleni ukuthi oh shit yazi ne usena uke wayikhuluma into so ukuthi hayi manje ngayenzi so ngayenza mina ngendlela yami ngashayisa ngabuye ima sena konje uthe senze njani fine angadli. That was then, but what I'm seeing now is that effect is still happening. Ukuthi as men sifuna izwi lethu kube elokugcina, asifuna ukuqwayiswa, asifuna ukuboniswa, asifuna ukuxoxiswa mayelana nenkinga esinazo as a family. Sifuna nje ukuthi yazi ne wena awunabangani iphelela lapho, whereas mina masithi Friday wafuna hot, I'm gone. So iyang bora because it makes ilento yenza ukuthi abafazi babe so independent or want to be independent. Ukuthi yazi ne ngiyangitshela indoda akunamuntu ozongitshela akunamuntu ozodrive imoto yami, akunamuntu ozoshaya umntwana wam, akunamuntu ozobhadala school fees somntwana wam. You understand? It always has that me in the end.
Because I don't need.
Because you feel the need to not need a man. And then it comes around 9:30 to 10. Sekufuna uyolala. And all of a sudden now you want to talk to your boy's son because there's no one else to cuddle to.
Okay, we've got a question from one of our ghost guests here. The stage is yours, Chief.
I just want to ask a question there, man. Everything you said was brilliant. Ne?
Yeah.
So what do you think about the girls when you go clubbing? Ne? You go and you sleep with the girl, and tomorrow morning you're accused of rape. So
Okay, I
What
think
do you think?
can I link the question? I think what he's trying to ask is, in that scenario, so kukhona yini into lekhayo from a father's perspective eyenza ukuthi bese abafazi ba-act ngale ndlela leyo, because this is not esikhathini in sometimes akusiyo into ukuthi ngiyahamba ngifike eklabhini ngidibana nawe ngiyakushela siba right siyalala bese uyongibophisa. Understand? Ngifuna ukwazi mina ukuthi yini ke eyenza is there something in the background?
I am still trying to figure that out.
word.
Obviously, ezinye izinto they're based on experience.
Experience, yes.
Personal experience.
Yes.
I've never been in that situation. I've never had an encounter with someone who has had that. But when we look at it, I need to we
we
all
need to be
have our
objective.
Yes, and we judge from face value. One of the things that I think it's either there's something that they try to achieve, or maybe there could have been a disagreement. You probably agreed on something last night, and now that agreement is not.
No, that's actually
You
very
see,
true.
and it's actually very sad.
Very
It's
true.
actually very sad because I let me rather say it's it says a lot about the self.
Character.
It says a lot about how far you're willing to go to get what you want.
How low you're willing to steep actually.
Exactly. It says that as well. And nanokuzazi wena, you know, nokuzazi ukuthi ufunani.
Yeah.
I think lento eyenziwayo to our brothers is really sad. It results in in people being
in more cases
bulala.
than not, abafethu they get crucified
And
for into they believe is not like that. I mean, mabe ngiyakuthatha eklabhini siyavumelana. It's not like ngithatha ngesibhamu kombe ngesibhamu ngiyakuforce ukuthi sigibele emotweni. No, siyaxoxisana ngeso.
no, if it's a false accusation, it is wrong. Angivumelani nayo at all. It is wrong.
No matter the
Rape is wrong. However, false accusation of rape is
It's
also wrong.
just as wrong.
Equally as wrong. Yeah, most definitely. I'm leaning more towards the side of an agreement because I have come across a person that has told me that they went to a club with a woman. They didn't arrive there together, but they spoke about living together, and the girl was like, "Exene, you have to give me 300." So this guy is now telling this girl, "I have not 300 dollars. It's now the morning." Now this girl is like, "I'm going to teach you a lesson." Comes back after an hour.
No, please, for sure.
With policemen and policewomen. So it's a case of trying to.
It's an agreement.
It's an agreement.
It's a
fine. Take it as a transaction.
It could be a verbal transaction or a verbal agreement, but it's still an agreement.
And it shows. I just want to lean back to what Ms. D says. It showed a lot. It shows a lot about your character as an individual. If you're willing to do that, then.
Let me ask this from a male's perspective. If males had isibindi, support. If males had those three things, rape,
Banning. So
because I mean, stats say about 60-65% of boys, they lose their virginity through rape that they do not understand. This is rape.
It is not consensual.
Exactly. I mean, in grade 8 ngiyabekisa ufunda matric. We matriculate lam. Mina ngireporta kuwe, I carry your bags, I do what you say. Nje lento ukuthi kana no. It's not person ukuthi ngiyakusaka but ngiyakuhlonipha, I understand because ngisafika. And then ngiyazi ukuthi should anything hits the fan, I know you're gonna be there to stand up for me. Bese uyafika wena and you take sexual advantage of my obliviousness. You know, and my unknowingness. Unconvince ngokuthi you know what? Asenze so. Mangaqala utshela intwana zakho ukuthi ngilele nami. Into zobayibhoza yona.
Yeah, uzoba popular, uzobayibhoza.
Uzobayibhoza and hayi ukuthi uzobe singabunjani so besikwenzele vele. So vele ungaba something to brag about. Do you think men are also taken advantage of when it comes to that specific spectrum?
Yeah, I believe both men and women take advantage of each other. Right?
Definitely.
And in most cases we tend to want to play the victim, but Nazi we can be villains.
Yes.
Right? Just to revert to your question, if it's Vumelwano City
300 exen.
300 exen, make sure that you'll be able to provide no
300 exen
I need to
specifically.
MBC.
Isn't it prostitution that?
Well, let's call it glorified.
Nivumeleni.
Yeah, but an agreement is like when I go and buy someone, and you have your prostitute, agreement is like, I'm gonna do this, this is how much. Then I take you out of the club, I'm like, let's go to my place, and then you are saying we have an agreement, 520 or 1,000. For me, it feels like it's prostitution.
It's
In
also,
a high rent society.
Glorified one.
and now you are sort of
You're also buying.
no, I wouldn't necessarily say that you are buying. Now it says a lot about how much you value yourself, because you're not just going to run into me in a club and then decide that you want to.
But it's happening in South Africa.
It is happening.
Yeah, you have what?
We are all
You have-
at fault.
you
Both
have-
men and women are at fault.
When you go to your clubs now, you have pocket girls. Why are they there? Why are they there? That's the first thing.
Why do people go? Since I digress, I'm
Yeah.
fine.
No.
Why do people go to?
No.
Yeah.
Yima.
But look at the
Kodwa
way I'm saying-
entertainment makes it anonymous. Kufuna siye kutheni
Yeah,
why
you
thina siye.
actually need to host
No like
Yeah.
something based on.
Yeah, because now you
On
find
that
clubs that are
lifestyle.
hostels. Do you know their duties? Do you know their duties? Is to make men pay chase for sales.
You know what? You need to host one on.
Yeah, that's a
on
completely
lifestyle
different topic.
issues.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah. No,
I
agree.
think we need to.
I agree.
We need to invest some time and talk about that specific spectrum.
It's a topic.
Understand?
It's a topic on its
On its
own.
own,
On
yeah.
its own.
Yeah.
But
Now
it's
let-
still, it doesn't necessarily answer the questions about
Fatherhood.
or
Yeah.
the lack thereof.
Yeah. No. Let me speak. Right along. Let me go to my next point. I think you've answered this a bit at the beginning of the show, where you said it takes a village to raise
To
a
raise
child.
a child.
Yeah, but I'm just going to be a bit. I would just like to request a broader answer in this regard. Can fatherhood be only restricted to the biological individual, or do you think an uncle, a grandfather, or a brother, or whoever is of a male nature can actually be a father? Let's take, for example, for the ones that have fathers that have already passed on. Yeah, can another person take on that responsibility and actually father you adequately?
100%. That is why I'm going to revert to what I said earlier on,
Yeah.
and sort of reiterate the fact that we have father figures. That's where they now step in, because the absence of a father is not always based on you deciding to walk out. Death happens as well.
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's not a matter of me saying, okay, you know what, this is not for me. At any given moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is where now umalume steps in. Babamncane steps in. Umkhulu steps in. I personally have had father figures even at work. I've had grown men actually mentoring me
Like
in
senior
Sedenzini. Yes, referring to me as Ngwanaka. Nganyam, you know, Ndotagas. You know, not to say they were trying to take advantage of me or anything. And I must
no, but
say,
because they actually considered
I
you
must
as
say,
one of their kids.
I must say I'm actually grateful for the quality of men that have
That you've crossed paths.
that I've crossed paths with, because they've always respected me enough to say you are a daughter, Giti, and they have never taken advantage of the fact that here's a vulnerable child whose father was never there.
Who's fatherless.
Yes, yes. So there's no one to protect her. Let me take advantage of her.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've always been surrounded by.
This is saying in English. I'm saying in English.
It's saying.
What? No, it's fine. I'm gonna remember it.
Yeah.
So yes, Abomalume, they are playing an imperative role in ensuring that they groom strong characters in us. You know,
Yes.
you find in Konzweni even, you know, people have a spiritual father, and I know it's a very controversial topic because people are like,
very,
spiritual father, no.
Very controversial.
But it works for
And very, very questionable.
Yes.
But okay.
Because we do have those who actually do take advantage of
Yes,
them.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It
But-
is very questionable.
Yeah.
But we are appreciative of the men who actually say, we see a gap here. Let us
Let's
try
try.
and fill it in.
Let me ask you this. How, njengawe, as a woman, I understand, how do you think role yama stepfathers actually, what role do they play in this entire conversation? Do they play the father figure? Do they play the male role? Are they important? Are some of them irrelevant? When about specifically stepfathers?
Like I said, everything is based on individual experience, you know. And my experience of a stepfather is completely different to your experience of a stepfather. There are certain stepfathers who actually step in and they
step up.
surpass what your father does for you.
True.
Okay? There are those who provide financially. There are those who say, okay, I'm not going to provide financially, but I am going
emotional
to be
support. I'm here.
an anchor in Ghanaian,
Yes,
you know.
yes.
They step in, we watch them love our mothers, abanye babo, you know.
Live.
And we realize that our mothers are also deserving of
This kind of love.
this kind of love.
This kind
yes.
of companionship.
Yes, and we are grateful for
For the-
stepfathers
for the-
who actually step in and they do a great job. Some of them do not do a great job. They actually do separate us from our
Our
mothers.
initial family.
I love that point.
You know, there are those who come in to destroy,
love that
who
point.
take your mother away from you, or they try and destroy your relationship with your father. So your father wants to be involved, but then because the stepfather has more money, he will then now try and buy you off from
Or
Ubabwa.
dictate
you
how
know.
things are happening.
Yeah,
Mangabe, weekend
no.
go to your Vagasha, all of a sudden we're going to Italy.
Yeah. Or I'd say, you're not going to get the pair of shoes if you go to your father, you know,
Yeah.
because he still feels threatened by the relationship.
By the relationship.
Yeah.
Or kube nale preferential treatment. This one is my biological child.
And this
one
one
is
is
not.
yeah, we
Yes,
do
yes,
find those
yes.
as well. So
Yes.
like I said, it's based on the personality of Muntu, and it differs.
Yeah.
So how can we equip, especially our fellow women, how can we equip them ukuthi bakhona ukubona ukuthi okay, they know what, okay, or rather let me ask this question like this. Ubona kanjani ukuthi okay, if this person uthi ufuna ukungishada ngiyabekisa, you already have a kid, let's say your kid is middle aged, so anyway between 7 and 12, ulapho kule atmosphere leyo, and then you find a man because ubaba walo mntwana akakufunanga ukulahlile ushonile, whatever the case may be, and then how do you get to allow that man into that space? Yini ekumele uyiconsiderishe, yini okufuna uyithembe, yini okufuna uyigade nje Please take me through that.
I think it's very important to consider the child's feelings as well.
Okay.
Right? And to respect the child's hereditary.
Yes.
There's a slight problem that I have with trying to force Ingane to change its world because you are now getting married.
Yes.
You know, it's banging in the long run. And not to say by me not wanting to change my surname, being defiant or but I think that needs to be respected.
Because that is your identity. That's how you identify yourself as.
Yeah, and I think we sometimes neglect children, especially when we find new love, and this creates animosity between the child and
the parent.
The newly found love match. So you're umntwana ngamfuna ustepfather abe disrespectful towards a stepfather, and then all of a sudden stepfather now becomes a villain enganeni. And abuses Ingane because Ingane is disrespectful.
Yes.
And only to find out disrespect roots from the manner of approach Mama and the way in which Umama did not try and explain things properly.
And I wanna give this a shot. I'm gonna have dinner, we're gonna meet him, and then after logo, if you're not comfortable with him, we're gonna call him quits. But if you are, we're gonna give it a try. So you think that is important as well?
Excuse me, it is important, and I'm not saying that children should dictate our relationships or
yes. It's not about the kid.
Yes.
It's not about the kids per se.
I'm not saying that, but I think it is important to consider
their feelings.
Yeah, I know. So, in the interest of time, just in the juxtapose these two questions, because now we're heading towards the end of the show. Seeing as a CB off topic or derail off, I think we've done very, very well so far. So, I just want you to take us through your experience, mainly dealing with male learners, and what can young men do to ensure that they become better fathers? I'd just like to make those two questions into one as we close off.
No. Let's make this personal. What can me and Umahoti do to ensure that we are better fathers?
Actually, I wanted to... Can I rephrase that? What can we do?
So you guys are involved as well?
Yes.
I like this one.
Yes.
As males and females.
Let us tackle it together.
Yeah.
That affects all of us. So what can we do? I think we need to understand where the problem lies. Let's start by identifying the problem. And then secondly, identify our roles.
As to what we are supposed to do, right?
As to what we are supposed to do. Let us identify our roles.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, meaning both as men and women.
A practical example. It happened that I was attacked by a boy in classing, and some of the boys laughed until another boy actually stood up and said, "How could you?
Yeah.
How could you laugh at how could you laugh at a man attacking a woman in your presence?
Yeah.
And you think it is funny?" He understood his assignment as a man, and he fathered me and shielded me at that particular moment.
From potential
props to you, whoever you are.
And he protected me. Okay?
Yeah.
And then that led to
actually realigning
and being
behavior.
and saying,
wow.
Sorry, man.
Actually, no, ma'am. We're
right?
offline.
And that was actually inspired by what I actually teach them. I do try in my lessons to say, you need to protect women.
Yes.
One of the things that I love about boys' schools, in as much as you do see misogyny taking place, but at the same time they are also taught to be gentlemen. For example, ever since I started teaching at a boys' school, I seldom open the door for myself. I don't touch the doorknob. The door gets open for me, especially if I'm in the presence of a man.
My gentleman.
Whether it's a male colleague or
even a
learner, yes.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can I carry that for you? Ma'am,
Yes,
can I
yes.
open the door for you? So I think
So basically, into isho yokuthi kunale-standard
yes,
esikhona
yes,
that we are, as male teachers, as a male in society, trying to instill ukuthi okay, yazini,
we need to
let's
go
be
back
softer. Let's be softer on these women.
we need to go back to understanding our roles, and once you understand your role, do not
can act.
impose it.
You can act
Act
someone else.
accordingly.
You can act
Do not
accordingly, yes.
impose it. Do not say "Yimi ndodalango" and force your power on.
onto that situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You try and you apply it.
Ooh, don't force but
don't
apply.
Yeah.
impose.
What?
Yeah, so
goodness.
and we another thing that I think we need to continue doing is creating more platforms. I mean, social media is giving us the chance to go out there and attack social issues, you know, to combat izinto esibhekane nazo. So I think we need to use these platforms not only to tear each other down, but to also empower each other. Let's go. Let's create mentorship programs. Let's try and adopt a child, that fatherless child in your community. Adopt leyo ngane. Ifundise ukushintsha itayela, you know.
Kompitayira le bicycle.
Yes,
Ride a bike.
yes, angithi uyabona ukuthi
Call it
ubaba
out.
ushonile lapha kulela khaya akekho.
Take the initiative.
Take the initiative. Take that boy in.
Uthi ayazi,
Mentor him.
mahot asenze so.
Yes.
Angizami ukuvala isikhala sababa.
Yes.
But I'm gonna try and teach you as many things as I can.
Teach him to fasten his
As a father.
shoelaces.
Yeah.
Teach him to tuck in his shirt. Teach him to fix his
You
tie.
know, teach him to be a gentleman.
Teach him to be a gentleman.
Yeah.
So and even we generation yet we are being mentored by people who are older than us. But I think that the style that we are using in mentorship is wrong. Lento yokuthi nizohamba nibe bo ice boy babo badala. No.
Grootman.
Hayi, lento yabo Grootman must stop. Grootman must actually be empowering you, teaching you ukuthi yabona mahode mfana wami ibhizinisi lihamba kanje.
Yes.
Uthi yazi,
Hayi
Yeah,
utshwala.
ayutshwala
you know,
fast.
ukuthi usithengele ma-ice, why singa-invest ukuthi sikuthengele ice machine,
Yes.
sithenge ma-ice kuwo.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
Some type of thing like that.
Yes, let's focus on empowering each other.
Okay,
Yeah.
just last question from me. In your opinion, as a woman, and please be subjective if you want, if you will, do you think as men, especially tina, as sakhula, angibabala kubaba, they are late to fix their mistakes.
And we need to forgive them.
Yeah. Now, forgive but not forgotten, but okay. Mara nje, as men that are growing up, you know, some of us have kids abasakhula, kids who are yet to be born, abanye bethu have wishes to have kids. So, do you think there's a spectrum where we can do better, specifically?
There's always an
Room for
opportunity.
improvement,
There is
yeah.
always an opportunity for improvement. We can always do better. We are not perfect every day, but like I said, let us not get tired of doing good. Let us not get tired of showing up. Let us not get tired of providing. Let us not get tired of being actively involved in impilweni zengane zethu.
So, ne-baby mama, ngibangela nje i-grief.
Like,
Ufuna ukwenza sure ukuthi impilo yami ihlezi i-stress
Yeah.
for no reason. Ngifake i-support umntana noma ngimondla. How do I deal with that? Lento ukuthi I don't have access to my kid. Ngiyambondla, ngiyamthengela impahla, uyakuthola ukudla. And then ngiyam-acknowledge ukuthi nginomntwana nosena.
Do you know what the sad part is? You fight for ingane yakho. And I must say, don't get tired of it. Continue fighting. Your child will appreciate you for that. One day, you will get to tell your child, I actually fought for you. Your mother did not want me to have a relationship with you. And I actually fought for you. And you must have something to back it up. and say, these were my efforts, mtanam. You remember me doing 1, 2, and 3. They will remember what you did for them.
History
So
So
in future you will get an opportunity to have an interaction nengane. I mean, ingane yakhula and goes to university. The mother won't always go everywhere nengane. And
Yes.
you know what I've realized with abantwana bamanje? These kids they have information.
Yes.
They have information. They are
At their
informed.
disposal.
At their
for that
disposal, they
matter.
have information, and they can go and search for their fathers. If you find your father and Ubaba wako is the
douche that you
the
claim
mother
to
said,
be that I am,
then
Fed. They
you've
can
proven
make
your
that
mother's
distinction. So you believe in
theory
the notion
correct.
yokuthi abantwana babakhulu, they get to understand ukuthi who was the problem.
Most
you do make that distinction.
You do make that
Uyabona
distinction.
ukuthi yazi ne ilento especially as boys ila bese sifike siphunyukelwa khona ukuthi baba kwakushela lo baba kwakushela lo, because that's when you understand from a man's perspective ukuthi yazi ne ubaba le chapa le beyangekaza imele.
Yeah. But the painful thing is you not trying.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not even the painful thing. So
You know, when your child grows up and understands that you never
you never
didn't
get a
fight
damn,
for me.
let alone
You didn't even buy a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
So
Never get a damn,
uzulala wena na.
let alone the swim. What's awuzange nje ube nendaba.
Yeah.
So yima ngicela ukubuza. Umntwana makazokhona ukwenza le distinction nokuthi azine ithama vele belingangifakeli. Is it way abona khona umntwana ukuthi hlehle ithama belingathanda umama or belingafuni mina?
Yo, that's another difficult one, because you know, for the longest time when you grow up ubaba wako absent,
Yes.
you always try to make things about you.
Yes.
Uthi,
Yes.
maybe the problem was me.
I'm
Maybe
a product
my
of that, I'm not
yeah.
Yes.
Maybe the problem was me. Maybe my arrival messed things
Yes,
up.
but
Maybe I shouldn't have
between
been
born,
here.
I shouldn't even. Yeah.
But I think it's important for you to understand that the decision that they made was theirs. You know.
You had nothing
And
to
you
do
had
with it.
absolutely nothing. Even if wafiga and they continued to love each other hard thereafter, and then things went south, then
yeah.
there is nothing
Yeah.
that you could have absolutely. There's
I
absolutely
guess
nothing
into
you
ekufuna
could have
siyifunde.
done to keep them together.
I guess into ekufuna siyifunde ukuthi our parents are also allowed to be.
They are individuals.
They
now.
are
They're allowed to make
entitled
mistakes.
to a form of love, a form of companionship,
That is why I
a
said
form of intimacy.
that we need to learn to forgive them, take the good that they do, apply that if it works for us,
Yes.
and then disregard
The
the
past.
best.
Yeah.
Because
Sense.
you know, I'm just going to share a quick one. I ran into a life coach. He is now late, and he said to me, "You're not a feminist, Wayne. You're just an angry girl. You're an angry little girl, and we need to address that."
Is there a difference?
You
Please
need to
tell me.
do-
Please tell me
You know?
there's a difference. Please tell me.
And
Please.
he actually, not just him, surprisingly enough, it took for a man,
To tell you.
okay, the damage that was created by
By
my father's
yes,
absence was
yes.
actually corrected by men.
That
The very same damage that was created by
by a man,
By a man.
is corrected
Was
by
Was
another man.
corrected by
a man.
a man. Okay? So he said to me, you need to heal, you need to find the wound and heal the inner child and learn to forgive your father because you are angry at him. Right? And it is only when I forgave my father that I realized that I wasted so many years of my life being angry at umuntu oshonile, and I put my life on hold. You know, I put my life on hold.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Because of
I
women
share your sentiments because I've been in the very same motion, just on different boats. I've been angry for that man. Always I must marafid.
So
Yeah,
it took for
sad.
men to actually help me heal. I've had mentors who have helped me heal of this. I have had relatives. I've had healers. You name it. It took for them to actually say, address this.
Address the main issue at hand.
And heal.
Yeah, no. Good. The very last question that we're going to take for today. What advice would you give to young women who are young mothers in terms of
especially
co-parenting for the ones that are no longer together with the fathers, and general advice to any woman that's
just to add on that, especially because we are seeing so many young mothers. I mean, Amachita, I don't know. Amachita are like this leper called Nut and Go. They just nut and go. This is what niggas do. Our first, they don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to be accountable. They don't want to be involved. So what do we give to our young mothers? Which you know what, man? This is not the end of the world. There's still life, but so sins in Jan.
Wow. Yet again, it's going to be very, very tricky because I am not a mother yet. So a lot of women are actually going to be angry at me for this, but But
you are being objective.
I am.
You can't be subjective because you're not in that.
Another thing you need to understand is that I spend a lot of time with their children at school. So
and then you don't,
by default, I'm a mother.
It quantifies you as a mother. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what I can say is, it's very important to discern, like I had said earlier on, between a failed relationship and a father. Okay, learn to discern, and when dealing with the child and issues that involve the child, just try to not get your emotions too involved. Okay, bavumeleni obaba, especially the ones who are willing, especially the ones who show an interest in taking the initiative to care for their children. Allow them to be there, allow them to be present, even before you drag each other to court, sit down and negotiate.
Try and find an amicable.
No, before we get an mediator.
Yes. But all I'm going to say is, do not deprive the child of a relationship with the father because the relationship between you and the father did not work.
Yes.
Okay.
It's loud and clear now.
Do not
destroy
their relationship.
In a sense, let's not use kids
as a weapon,
as bullets behind our very own vindictive guns.
Most definitely.
So abantwana abaphume enkingeni yam now.
And in as much
and
in as much as you try and protect the child from this
animal
of a father,
and you get to make their own
allow them to experience.
That's what I love. That's what I love about kids. That's what I love about growing up.
Allow them to experience.
Painful to grow up, but I love it because when it comes to lama blended families and ukuba no baba ongazwani no mama or umama ongazwani no baba, as most cool as I want, yazini mom share look baba one.
I know, guys. Masnakuluma ngashayu 8. Yeah, this dialogue is very continuous.
Yeah.
So
which means we're gonna have to continue it.
Most definitely.
At some point.
Most definitely. There are platforms in which we can use the social media. There should be empowerment funds. There should be support groups and everything.
I like that one. Empowerment funds.
Yeah. That we
empowerment funds. Why don't we have a department that's strictly about that? Empowerment funds. What?
Let's hope it will get to the relevant years.
That would be a nice one. Empowerment funds.
Yeah, but guys,
on Mother's Day we celebrate mothers, but on Father's Day, can we
celebrate mothers too?
Can we please allow fathers to be celebrated,
especially the fathers that are actually fathers.
Yes. That's not happy Father's Day to my mother. No, let's not take away the spotlight.
And I know for a fact ukuthi umntana wakhe mnakekela, uyahamba yomhlola, uyaba naye, uyamondla, and akamsabisi. So mangabe umama umntana amahoda azothi happy Father's Day to me on Father's Day. Mina ngeni understand.
Kodwa siyabonga ukuthi mama umntana amahode akakwenzi.
Yes. That's how we should got the nickname Makoti, because she's the Makoti to my son. She's going to bear she's going to bear my grandchildren.
Not to you.
No, not me.
To the son.
To the son. Yeah. No, but thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Massive thanks to Miss D. I'm definitely sure she's on Muisa now.
Fast, I'm fit. Mina now my name.
Yeah.
Sibonga nje ukuthi
On
ukhona
another
blessing
topic.
presence yakho.
Like, we appreciate it beyond comprehension. I'm very, very grateful. I know Guti presence is a propeller.
And I feel
presence
like-
is a propeller to greater heights. But thank you.
I feel like as a man and other men watching, we've learned so much about
most definitely.
the women's insights
Most definitely.
about fatherhood.
Most definitely. Any parting words?
Yeah, this is an honor, and thank you for it, Decentralized. I believe it is going to do a lot for our community. Already, isiqalile from the first 3 episodes that I've watched, and seeing people comment about it on social media. I believe it is going to change. I believe we are going to learn a lot as a community, and yeah, man, greater heights.
We try.
Thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Double boom.
Bo, 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 bo.